Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
And you're going to love it.
Okay, let's go.
JD is the white guy. People think he's funny. Been down long time. Way before we had the money.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. All right, a little rap to get you going. Somebody sent me this. They were like, hey, I listened to your episode about Nelly and the dude that managed him, and I think he's in this song.
JD is the white guy. People think he's funny. Been down long time. Way before we had the money.
And I was like, yeah, that absolutely is him. JD is the white guy. People think he's funny. Been down for a long time before we had the money. I mean, that is exactly true. JD is the white guy. I mean, I don't know how funny he is. Oh, no, he's actually pretty funny. And he was down before they had the money. Isn't that funny? I couldn't tell what song it was because they just sent me the clip. Let me see if I can find out what song. All it says is it's off of Da Dirty Sessions. Da Dirty Sessions. So anyway, oh my God, have I even talked about that episode? Have I talked? No, the Matt Kubler episode I didn't talk about. All right, the JD Jesse Mass episode, man, that's tracking to potentially take over as my most listened to episode, which is crazy. I don't know if he has that many people that did it, or I have no idea how that happened. But man, a lot of people are listening to that thing. You know, I wonder if it's because I've got like Nelly and the graphics and things like that. And then when people see it, especially on my Instagram, although the Instagram, man, I'm at 175,000 people. Zesty. Very, very zesty. Although I don't really see that as a music crowd. It's more of a political crowd on that thing. But who knows? I guess that's the power of celebrity. Anyway, if you haven't listened, it's a good one. Jesse Mass. And then Tuesday's episode, or was that Wednesday? I think it was Wednesday. Matt Kubler, Osama bin Laden, as well as his Navy SEAL friend, Job. Which, by the way, dude, there's no way that guy committed suicide. If you haven't listened to that episode, it's pretty interesting. I actually reached out. We'll see if we can make this happen. I reached out to Rob O'Neill, who is the guy that they talk about, or Matt talks about on that episode, and he's the one credited with killing bin Laden, and I don't think he did. I really don't. I genuinely do not think that guy killed bin Laden. I think the other dude that Matt Kubler talks about in the episode, this guy Red, I think that's the dude that killed bin Laden, but he didn't want the notoriety, so they probably like cut a deal or something. Who knows? Anyway, there's another guy that's mentioned in the whole bin Laden story, this guy Matt Bissonette. I reached out to him as well, so let me see if I can get these guys on. I did actually hear back. This is kind of exciting for me. I heard back from Scott Horton, and that's the guy that was just on Tucker Carlson. You know, it's hard to describe him in audio, but I bet you if you saw his face, you would know who he is. And so his assistant got back to me, said, hey, Scott would love to come on. So that's really cool. And then there's a guy named Ken O'Keefe. Actually, I'm going to play you something from Ken O'Keefe. This is an ex-Marine. He has been in the mix for decades, and he's very insightful. I'm not going to lie, he's very volatile. This dude is volatile. We were supposed to record yesterday at 7 p.m. my time, which is Pacific Standard Time, and he lives in Malaysia. So it's a 15-hour time difference. And so that was 10 a.m. his time. Anyway, so 7 p.m. comes, you know, I'm all dolled up, hair's looking good. I had the vest on, or did I have suspenders on? No, I had suspenders on. I had the suspenders on. So I log in and I communicate with Ken only through DM on Instagram. Anyway, 7 o'clock my time, log in. No Ken. 7:05, no Ken. 7:15, no Ken. So I shoot him a note on Instagram. Hey, man, I don't know if you can still make it. I know it's 10 a.m. your time. But anyway, I'm inside the studio. 15 minutes late. I gave him 30 minutes and no Ken. So I was like, all right, you know what? It's all good. Totally get it. And I went to the gym. And then I'm at the gym. At this point, it's like 8 o'clock at night. So I'm at the gym getting some steps in, getting a little workout. And actually, I was on the treadmill. And then Ken like calls me on Instagram direct message, but with the video call. So I'm like, holy shit, I don't really want to answer it because I'm getting my workout in. But then I'm like, okay, let me just answer it. So I answered it, and there's Ken. And by the way, Ken's like in his mid to late 50s, kind of an older guy, super tattooed up. He's got a teardrop tattoo on his face, kind of like the precursor to Mike Tyson, maybe. Anyway, super great guy, by the way. Very apologetic for missing the call. Bro's got no shirt on. And we proceeded to have like a 30-minute conversation while I'm on the treadmill. I did not stop taking my steps. And by the way, this is at 24-hour fitness. I had my earphones, my AirPods in, but man, if anyone was looking over my shoulder, watching me like FaceTime, well, not FaceTime, but Instagram video call with like some old dude with no shirt on, they must have been like, whoa, what is up with this guy? But man, I should have just pressed record. I could have had a podcast episode out of it. But anyway, super interesting conversation. Man, this guy is fascinating. He's an ex-Marine, so he understands all the military aspects of things, but also he's just a very insightful geopolitical analyst. So anyway, Ken is coming. Scott Horton's coming. My, what's the word I'm looking for? My desire to bring on my holy grail, which is Professor Jeffrey Sachs, maybe the Holy Trinity. Who's my Holy Trinity? Professor Jeffrey Sachs, Professor John Mearsheimer, and I would say at this point, it's this Whitney Webb gal. If I can get the three of those, that'll be pretty sweet. I actually reached out to James Corbett and I said, would you mind making an introduction to Whitney? He was a total gentleman about it. And he said, absolutely. He said, the only problem is she's on maternity leave, so she's not doing any interviews. So I was like, okay, no problem. I'll wait. Although, man, she would be getting booked left and right now because she is literally the aforementioned expert on Jeffrey Epstein. So she's been on Glenn Beck. She's been on a ton of podcasts. You know, what I'll try to do over the weekend is maybe see what her best podcast appearance was and download that. And maybe we can kind of go through that because I think you guys need to understand something. This Jeffrey Epstein situation, let me try to explain it in case you're somebody that just completely does not follow it. I do not think right now this really is about the people on the Epstein list. I don't think that really matters. I mean, it does matter because some of these people are pedophiles and they're predators and they absolutely deserve to be brought to justice with the full fledge what the heck? What am I trying to say? The full aspect of the law, whatever. They deserve it. And I don't care if it blows up corporations, if it blows up companies, if it blows up whatever. You know, people don't deserve a pass. It's just not right. So right now, you've got a lot of people, obviously, who are very disappointed with the Trump administration and how he's dealt with this Jeffrey Epstein situation by basically saying the case is closed, the Department of Justice and FBI have concluded there is no Epstein list, and they've concluded that there was no blackmail and all that. You know, a lot of people, first of all, there's three schools of thought. School of thought number one is, well, Trump must be on the list and he must be part of it. And so that's why he's covering it up. I do not think that is true at all. And I'll tell you why. And this one's pretty easy to debunk. Basically, if you think about it, if that was the case, the Biden administration over the last 4 years, I mean, they threw everything, including the kitchen sink, at Donald Trump. Lawsuits, sexual harassment, sexual whatever, civil suits, all that stuff. I mean, they went after Trump every 12 ways till Sunday. And so if they knew he was on the Epstein list, which by the way, they had the list for 4 years, or they supposedly had all the intel for 4 years. If they knew Trump was a part of that, they would have absolutely opened that up and brought that forward, basically in order to take him down once and for all and remove him from the game. So the fact that they didn't do that, that means Trump is not involved in that as a predator, as a pedophile. Now, I do think that Trump partied with Epstein. I absolutely do. I think they palled around, 20 years ago, 30 years ago at the height. Those guys were in their, I don't know, what were they, in their 40s maybe, in their late 30s, early 40s, even early 50s, two dudes with a ton of money and basically living La Vida Loca. I absolutely do think they partied together, but I don't think that Trump did anything nefarious as in underage girls or anything like that. I don't. I never have, actually. I never thought he partook in any of that stuff. And by the way, remember, Trump doesn't drink and he doesn't do drugs. And so again, most of these people that are involved in kind of this illicit stuff, obviously the Diddy stuff is probably even worse. But these guys drink, they party, they do drugs. It's all part of that world. But again, Trump doesn't drink and he doesn't do drugs. And like I said, I don't think he ever did anything nefarious. Now, again, I do think they partied together, and I think he downplays that, but I do think that's true. So debunking option 1 is pretty easy. Option 2, people are saying, oh, again, this is like the Trump 5D chess crowd or the 4D chess crowd. They're saying he now has blackmail on all his opponents and all these people that were part of the Epstein list. And the reason he's not releasing it is because he's holding it over their head as leverage. And it's more valuable to him to have that leverage to keep those people out of the way in order for him to do what he needs to do to make America great again. That is the Kool-Aid drinking Trump crowd, okay? That is the Trump worship syndrome people who basically always somehow find a silver lining to everything involving DJT 45-47. I don't think that's true either. I really don't. I don't think that he is being strategic with, I guess, his not releasing this. What I think is the case is option number 3. What's behind door number 3? And honestly, I mean, it's pretty easy to me. It's pretty simple to figure this out. And what it is they do not want to publicly admit to the American people. Gosh, did I say this the other day? I might have, but I'll reinforce it. But they don't want to publicly admit to the American people not who's on the Jeffrey Epstein client list, but who commissioned the Jeffrey Epstein client list, as in who hired Jeffrey Epstein, who employed Jeffrey Epstein, who was Jeffrey Epstein working for. And again, I think I did talk about this the other day. I mean, it is ridiculously obvious. He was working for Mossad, who then means he was working for the government of Israel or the state of Israel or whatever. And so the reason why I think this is being suppressed as much as it is simply that I do not think the administration or the powers that be, and that includes Team Trump, I don't think that they want the American people to be able to say, oh, look, the state of Israel or Mossad or whatever, they've been blackmailing our politicians and powerful people for, decades. Therefore, they probably are committing genocide in Gaza. They probably maybe had something to do with JFK's assassination. They probably maybe had something to do with 9/11. You see what I mean? Like, it's not just one thing. It is a domino series of actions that are all ridiculously bad and make them look bad. And so by like not coughing up. Man, I am just a tard sometimes. By fessing up to that Epstein connection, it opens the door to everything, and it opens up Pandora's box for everything. I think that's it. I really do. I think that is what is being held back, and that is why it's being held back. And I mean, I can understand that. Although, the caveat of it is, I think Pandora's box has already been opened up by really what's taken place in Gaza, but not for everybody. There is a giant contingency that still, quite frankly, many of them, and this is really the boomer generation, they don't think Israel's doing anything wrong in what they're doing with Gaza. Now, whether that's for biblical reasons or whether that's just because they've been completely, I guess, brought up with this Christian evangelical mindset, I don't know. But the bottom line is there still are significant amounts of Americans that do not think there's anything wrong with what's going on in Gaza. But could or would they change their opinion on that if publicly Jeffrey Epstein gets outed as a Mossad agent that was working for the government of Israel in order to honeypot, powerful celebrities and politicians and all that? I think that would change. I think that would change the dynamic of it. I really do. Okay. All right. That's all that. Let me see. I might play some clips. We're only at 16 minutes. I can't let you guys off the hook this easy. Oh, I've got a great clip to play for you guys. Okay, give this a listen. So this, ironically, this is one of the guys that is most closely tied to the Epstein list and to Jeffrey Epstein on behalf of Israel. And it's a guy named Ehud Barak, and he's the former prime minister of Israel. So he's like the prime minister, maybe 2 or 3 removed before Netanyahu got in power again. But listen to what he's talking about. Now, this is in reference to Netanyahu.
So are you saying Benjamin Netanyahu deliberately boosted Hamas to try to prevent a Palestinian state?
Yeah, sure. He deliberately and systematically even told, is on record, whoever wants to avoid the threat of a two-state solution has to support my policy of paying protection money to the Hamas.
All right, I'm going to try to keep this top line and super simple for you guys. So that is a former Israeli prime minister. So think about it as like Bill Clinton, basically. So Bill Clinton is coming out saying that Donald Trump, again, Ehud Barak coming out saying Benjamin Netanyahu pretty much has never wanted this two-state solution. And therefore, anybody that wants to avoid it has to embrace the concept of giving money to Hamas in order to keep them strong so they can keep this wedge between Hamas, which think about as like California, and then the Palestinian Authority, think about that as New York, okay? So basically, that's one of the things that proves that Netanyahu has never wanted a two-state solution. That guy, if he could just exterminate every Palestinian, he absolutely would. Okay, now let's listen to the second piece. This is a guy named Avi Omalan, and he is literally the former head of the Shin Bet, which is kind of like, I think, our FBI. I mean, they're huge. The Shin Bet is very powerful and strong. So this is the former head of the Shin Bet in Israel.
So what we did, with the permission of our Prime Minister, is to let Qatar to transfer a huge amount of money in cash, probably more than $1.4 billion. By doing it, we increased the power of Hamas. We did everything in order to make sure that Hamas will go on controlling Gaza, and Palestinian Authority will control the West Bank, so they will fight each other.
I mean, that is seriously insane. That's literally what I just said. Well, I forgot that that's what this guy was going to say. But so again, think about it. Think about the former head of the FBI or CIA or some huge agency. By the way, you've got to have some balls to come out and say this stuff in these countries. I really am impressed with these guys. Anyway, so he's pretty much saying at the bequest of our prime minister, we got the money from Qatar. Remember I talked about Qatar and then long time ago, I was like, why do they pronounce it Qatar? It's a way to make it sound bad, kind of like Iran and Iran. But I was totally wrong. It turns out it actually kind of is pronounced Qatar. So my bad, Qatar. But basically, the money came from Qatar, that $1.4 billion. And again, Netanyahu knew that was going to Hamas, and he let it happen. Now, the third guy that's going to talk on this is a former IDF commander. I forget what his name is, but like, again, this is another guy that was like a player in the Israeli Defense Forces, which is known as the IDF.
He fed the beast, and it exploded in our face. If you base your national security strategy solely on force, then you need to win 24/7 forever.
I mean, that is pretty wild. He fed the beast. And I love what he said. That guy was actually very, very articulate. If you base your entire national security strategy solely on force, then you need to win 24/7 forever. I mean, that's pretty well said. Anyway, that is three incredibly high up officials in the Israeli government and military that have come out over the past, it's really been over the past 4 or 5 months, speaking up against Netanyahu. So anyway, there's that. Okay, let me see what else. Let me see what else I can play you guys. I know you want more. I know you want more. Just say it. Give me more, AD. Give me more. All right, my bad. That just got weird. Okay, let me see. Let me find another good clip. You know what? I wanted to move on from Epstein, but here is another guy. This is a former Israeli spy, and I mean, there's a little bit of music in the background, but I think you can make it out. But basically, what the guy asks him and what his answer is exactly the truth.
Alarming allegations that you've been making are that the entire Epstein operation was a honey trap operation to entrap politicians, policymakers, celebrities, people in the media eye, basically to become Israel's assets.
Correct. That it became basically an intelligence operation to entrap different politicians around the world.
All right, God damn it. I did not want to make this whole episode about Epstein, but you know what? You guys need to know this. You really do. You need to know this stuff, and you need to have this reinforced in your head, because something crazy probably is going to happen next week, and it's going to try to shift the attention away from this, because right now this is all anyone wants to talk about. And I'm kind of glad, because again, this does have bigger ramifications. Okay, listen to Trump. This is from 2015, before he was running for president the first time. And the beginning's cut off, but the guy asks him Bill Clinton. He's asking him about Bill Clinton. So he says, Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
Epstein, in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you.
You really think that Clintons are involved in Jeffrey Epstein's death? I have no idea. I know he was on his plane 27 times, and he said he was on the plane 4 times. But when they checked the plane log, Bill Clinton, who was a very good friend of Epstein, he was on the plane about 27 or 28 times. So why did he say 4 times? And then the question you have to ask is, did Bill Clinton go to the island? Because Epstein had an island that was not a good place, as I understand it, and I was never there. So you have to ask, did Bill Clinton go to the island? That's the question. If you find that out, you're going to know a lot. Thank you very much.
I mean, this is insane. I'm playing this stuff for you guys so you understand how ridiculous it is that they came out on Monday and said that they've determined there is no client list, there was no blackmail. You know, they'll probably they'll probably come out and say, turns out there was no island. It was just a mirage. Yeah, it was a mirage. Oh my God. I hope to God they come out and say that. That would be amazing. All right, next, this is a serious montage of clips starting off with Trump and then J.D. Vance and Theo Vaughn. Then it goes to Senator Marsha Blackburn talking about Kash Patel. And then I think it's Kash Patel. I forget who else. But listen to this. This is about 1 minute and 45 seconds. But again, it's really good because we have such short-term memories because things move so fast. Like, can you believe it's already July? Oh my goodness. But anyway, this is all stuff that has been said within the past 3 months.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would.
Release the list. Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
Will you work with me on this issue so we know who worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings?
Absolutely, Senator. Child sex trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past and how we are going to countermand missing children and exploited children going forward.
Just last week, the president's excellent pick for FBI Director Kash Patel vowed to work with me in releasing the Epstein records and breaking apart the trafficking rings that harm countless women and children across our country.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
All right, really quick. Now we're bringing back in Pam Bondi and a few other people. But again, this is all so current. So just I want to reinforce that. This is all from interviews within the past 3 months.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. All this evidence is sitting in the Southern District of New York.
Yeah.
So based on that, I gave them the deadline, Friday at 8, a truckload of evidence arrived. It's now in the possession of the FBI. Kash is going to get me and himself, really, a detailed report as to why all these documents and evidence had been withheld. It's a new administration, and everything's going to come out to the public. The public has a right to know. Americans have a right to know.
I know the Attorney General has committed to releasing those files. I would defer you to the Department of Justice on her timeline, but when she has made a promise in the past, she has kept it, and I'm certain that she will in this case as well.
And after all of that, this is what we got on Monday.
Welcome back, everybody. 20 minutes to the top of the hour. Case closed. The Justice Department revealing Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide and insists there is no secret client list out there.
I mean, it's seriously just absurd. All right, let me see what else I can find. We're only at 27 minutes. Come on, people. Hang with me. Hang with me. It's Friday. You got all weekend. All right, next clip. Man, this gal was not on the bingo card at all. All right, Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is another clip from her interview with Tucker Carlson. For some reason, this one is now getting out. And it's getting out big time, especially on Instagram. Give this a listen.
Hey, we all live in this house. It's called the United States of America. This is our house. And if we are giving our full allegiance to another foreign country who doesn't pay our taxes, will not pay off our debt, did not come and defend our southern border when it was invaded for 4 years straight, when its prime minister, Netanyahu, was the first to congratulate Joe Biden being president of the United States, he was the first foreign leader. I don't understand.
A country that has longstanding military ties to China.
By the way, just put this on your radar. I'm seeing this percolating. The military ties that Israel has to China. I mean, that's like another, I guess, pretty terrible secret, although it is kind of a secret. But I am hearing more and more about this. So anyway, put that on your back burner.
Yeah, there's that.
Which runs the port of Haifa. I mean, I'm not attacking. Look, Israel's doing what it thinks it needs to do. I just want to say for the 50th time, I'm not especially mad at Israel.
Not mad at Israel.
I'm mad at our leaders who don't seem to care about the United States. That's it.
And that's the problem. And that's where we are. We have this house. It's our house, the United States of America. And our elected leaders are not fully focused on our house and our problem with our children and their future.
I mean, listen, the only caveat I have to that is whether it's Israel, Thailand, Portugal, Spain, I don't care what the country is. She's right. She's right. The United States is a mess right now. It's a complete mess. And so the political leaders and quite frankly, everybody needs to be focused on the United States. If you are in the United States, you need to be focused on the United States, hard stop. And so, it just so happens that obviously the country that is coming to light that's taken, I guess, advantage of things happens to be Israel. But I don't think it matters what country that would have been. It needs to stop. And we need to focus on charity starts at home, as the expression goes. Charity starts at home. All right, let me see if there's anything else. We're at 30 minutes. I know, I get it. You want to go, but I also know you want to stay. All right, you know what? I've got to play this one for you. This is Pam Bondi basically trying, and remember, Pam Bondi's the attorney general. She's that blonde chick, trying to explain her way out of it. The only reason I'm playing this for you is because I posted this on Instagram and it got 550,000 views and then another 462,000 on Facebook. So this thing's practically gotten 1 million views, and that's just my post. And I was reposting from somebody else. So anyway, obviously people must be interested in this clip. So give this a listen.
All right, first to back up on that, in February I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed.
Oh, I'm actually glad I played this. I'm not going to play the previous one before, but remember earlier in this podcast, she was in that 2-minute montage where she says, it's sitting on my desk right now to be reviewed. Actually, let me find it. I'll play it for you guys.
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. All
right, so that's exactly what she said. So now listen to the rest of this, and this is her backpedaling.
Meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
That is not what she meant by that.
Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
All right, anyway, that's it. I've got like 7,000 more clips, but I'm going to let you guys go on and enjoy your weekend. Listen, at the end of the day, you have to decide what you believe. I know a lot of you are probably like, I don't care about this. It doesn't affect my day-to-day life. I get that. Trust me. Nothing really affects your day-to-day life that I talk about. I don't think. But then here you are, still listening to me, which I totally appreciate. I'm telling you, it's important. This stuff is important. Accountability is important. Integrity is important. Calling a spade is important. And calling your parents is important. Anyway, do all of those things. Have a great weekend, everybody.
That was a great way to end it.
This episode was brought to you by the new book, Deep Shallow Dive Into You, available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in hardcover and paperback. Don't forget to sign up for our new mailing list on our website at deepshallowdive.com.